We're going to do a deep dive here on how to program your brand new AnyTone DMR radio.
Everybody says DMR is a big learning curve, but Bridgecom's done an amazing job at taking that curve and flattening it to a point where I think most amateur radio users can handle it.
We've got a lot of new folks coming into our world wanting to help you guys be successful, and so we do a lot of these live streams.
Online videos are phenomenal.
All right, welcome. Thank you so much for attending. I want to welcome you to the DMR workshop hosted here by Bridgecom Systems. My name is Ron. I'm KCØQVT, and we're coming at you live from Smithville, Missouri, in the heart of America. Thank you so much for being here. I want to make the most of your time, and I'm going to do the best job I can in quickly getting you on the air and showing you what's going on with DMR and in particular ham radio. Thank you so much. I want to go ahead and just kick things off. Hopefully you've got your show notes. If you've not, they're located on our website's homepage. If you click that link, and then you're going to come up with another page, and down there you're going to see the notes. I'm going to be walking through that slide presentation this morning and showing you all the things that you need to do in order to take your ham radio journey to the next level. So going to jump into computer here. Again, my name's Ron, KCØQVT. I'm an amateur radio extra class operator, and I've been doing this for a while. Got into DMR around 2009 when Motorola created their Moto Turbo app developer program. And then, of course, the amateur radio community has adopted this technology, and it's just blown up. And we're going to show you what's happening there. So the goals of this webinar is we're just going to have some fun. I'm going to take about 35-40 minutes of your morning and show you guys how quickly we can get on the air with a radio and a hotspot. Showing you what's going on with DMR and ham radio. I'm going to show you how to set up a DMR hotspot, how to program your code plug into an 878UVII Plus. And you might be wondering, well, what's a code plug? Well, I'm going to get into that. And then I want to demonstrate the products here that I have by making effort to have a contact or make a contact in a couple of different states. So we're going to put this stuff to the test. So real quick, what is DMR? DMR stands for Digital Mobile Radio. It was designed primarily for use in the professional radio industry. They had a big problem. They were running out of spectrum. And so a mandate came along from the FCC and said, you guys have got to figure out a way to go narrow band. That means go from 25 kilohertz down to 12.5 kilohertz. Well, DMR was a way to solve that problem. And what it does is it allows for the time slicing of two simultaneous calls on a 12.5 kilohertz channel. And so it uses digital technology to time slice. So there's actually two calls, one in each time slot 1 and time slot 2. They can actually have meet that requirement to make the spectrum more efficient. So it effectively doubled the available spectrum. So it was a big problem, and they solved that, and the mandate went through in about 2011. So why DMR and ham radio? Well, you know, as hams, we do want to be prepared, okay? That's just part of why we got into this thing, you know. Want to be able to know that we had comms in the event of a problem. So it, you know, DMR helps with that. Then, of course, we want to learn new skills. And then, of course, more importantly, we want to make more contacts, make more friends. So as far as DMR having it all, for the past 15 plus years, hams have been building worldwide networks that consist of FM repeaters and hotspots all over the world, so that they're all linked all over the world. So it's getting bigger by the day. Worldwide right now, there's about 250,000 hams that have gotten into DMR, and is steadily growing at about 500 a week. The largest DMR network that's been made is called Brandmeister, and there's over 6,000 linked repeaters at any one time, along with about 18,000 hotspots connected at one time. So there's a lot of people in this space, and it's growing by the week. Again, back to learning a new skill. I want to just highlight the value of DMR, not just for amateur radio, but from a professional perspective. We sell to a lot of commercial folks, professional folks, along with amateur radio. And I've been around to a lot of shops. Every one of them has a help wanted sign. They're looking for technical people that understand this technology. So actually adding this skill set to your knowledge base is so vital today. It's such a necessary skill, and it's in high demand as well. So I just want to highlight that in case you guys know somebody, a young person out there that's wanting to get a career started. Two-way radio, although it's not the sexiest industry in the world, it is everywhere. If you look around security teams, you go to these football stadiums, everywhere there's anybody involved in hospitality, security, warehouse, they have a two-way radio on their hip, and most likely they're using a digital technology. So it's definitely a skill that you should acquire or encourage some other people to acquire. And then on top of it all, and this goes back to the having fun, is that you get to make more contacts. As I stated earlier, there's 250,000 hams at any one time, that have actually not at any one time, but in the that have gotten their DMR ID, which I'll get into. And it just, there's just so many people involved, and there's a high probability of making contacts, which is why we want to do this. Okay, so taking a look at this screen here, this is the other sheet on popular DMR networks. I just wanted to give you a quick snapshot that the biggest and the largest network is Brandmeister. And what's cool about that is you can actually see the activity going on. And I'm just going to show that to you real quick. Like right now, there's 6,360 repeaters on the network. There's almost 18,000 hotspots currently connected, as well as 48 voice calls happening. And then of course it's managed by servers, but this kind of gives you the lay of the land. I mean, it's pretty big. These guys have done a fantastic job of building out a network that has married so many technologies, repeaters and things together. And then of course, another tool on Brandmeister is this thing called the hose line. So have a peek at this. Now what this is actually where you can actually go in and monitor all these channels and talk groups going on. And I'll get into what a talk group is, but you can click on one of these and you can actually listen to the voice activity that's taking place. So it's really cool. And you don't need a license to do this. So that's one way to do it. And then of course you've got TGIF. It's a smaller network, but it's got its interest group. And then you've got the DMR Plus. And then, of course, a smaller network called Free DMR, which I believe is out of the UK. Okay, so how do you start using DMR? So what do you got to do to get into this thing? Well, first you need a DMR ID. That's like your telephone number. And then you need a DMR radio. Mobile or a handheld will suffice, but it does need to have DMR technology built into it. You want to make sure of that, okay? And then you want to get a hotspot. And then you'll need a Windows-based computer, because that's what runs the programming that allows for you to program not only your hotspot, but your two-way radio. So let's go to DMR ID. So you do need an amateur radio license. It is required, okay? And then you want to go to a website called radioid.net. Now, radioid.net is sort of the master database for where you get your DMR ID and all the IDs available. And as you can see here on this screen, if you want to explode that there, in the last 7 days, 462 new DMR IDs, 1,875 new DMR IDs added in the last 30 days. And I can tell you, this has not slowed down. I've been watching this now for about 3 or 4 years, and they add about 500 a week, and it's incredible. And around 2,000, 1,800 to 2,000 a month. And as you can see right now, the number of DMR IDs added in the global network is 253,758. So it's pretty incredible. But that is the telephone book. You do need to get a DMR ID. And so the process of getting a DMR ID is generally pretty quick. And you will need to provide proof that you are an amateur radio license. And I will show you how to do that here in a moment. But I'm going to just run through all the essentials. But again, you need a DMR radio, okay? And there are many mobiles, DMR handhelds and mobiles on the market. In this webinar that I'm doing right now, we're going to go over and use the AnyTone AT-D878UVII Plus. It's probably one of the most popular handhelds on the market. It's one that we here at Bridgecom support. And we're totally behind this radio as far as, helping people get on DMR. And for the money, it's probably one of the best radios out there. It is a professional radio. In other words, that means it has part FCC Part 90 compliant. So it can not only double as a professional radio, but it doubles as in the amateur radio area of the spectrum as well. And then the cool thing about it is it's dual band. It does VHF and UHF, which of course is 70 centimeter and 2 meter for amateur radio. Okay, and then of course you need a hotspot, and that's what we're going to use today. You could use a local repeater, but for the purposes of this demonstration in this webinar, I'm going to use a hotspot. So a hotspot is nothing more than a single board computer with the screen on it, and it has an antenna on it. And we're going to open this up here. These are fresh product out. We're going to open them up right out of the box, but this will allow for you to use your radio to talk on that network like Brandmeister and talk all over the world. Okay, so this is your gateway into the world, and it's sort of like a repeater in your pocket. You just need internet access. Now that could be through your home local area network on your Wi-Fi at your house, or you can even tether it to your cell phone and be completely hands-free driving down the road, talking through your hotspot, as long as you have an internet connection. Okay, so we're going to jump in now that we kind of gone over everything, but we need to set up the hotspot. And of course, the first thing, oh, and by the way, let me back up. We're going to set this thing up to be on the Brandmeister network. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get you on the largest network that's out there. It's Brandmeister. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to, number one, you need to obtain your DMR ID. Okay, and that there's a link on the show notes on how to go register. Now, I've already registered mine. I've been registered for quite a while, so you know, that's all been done. And then, of course, showed you how on this link how to get proof that you have an FCC amateur radio license. So I'm trying to make that easier. And then once, of course, that's done, then we can search the database and find your number. And that's what I'm going to do real quick. I'm going to show you how to search the database. And you can do that here by clicking, you go to the radioid.net and you press that database button. And so as I'm going to type in my call sign, which I've done already, and I'm KCØQVT, and I'm going to search. Okay. And so I'm going to quickly write down my number because I'm going to use this to set up my hotspot, but I'm 312-9172. So my DMR ID is 312-9172. And all ham's DMR IDs are 7-digit numbers. Now there's another DMR ID, which I won't get into, but there's a 6-digit number for registering a DMR repeater. Okay. So they all have their own unique IDs as well. So I'm 312-9172. And then, of course, the next step is to register and obtain a Brandmeister self-care account and a password. And that can be done by clicking this link here. And that is going to take you to this registration page. Okay, now I've already done this, so I'm all good to go. And I've set up my hotspot security password, which you will need in order to set up your hotspot. Okay, but just keep in mind, you have to register and get a self-care account. And that usually, once you've proven that you have a ham radio license and you have a DMR ID, setting up a Brandmeister account is very quick. And I believe it's just as quick on TGIF or these other networks that are available to us amateur radio folks. Okay, so the next step is to connect our hotspot to our brand new hotspot. We're going to connect it to the internet. And we have all that right here for this demonstration. So I'm pulling a new SkyBridge out of the box, and I am going to put this over here. And I have a camera over here so that you guys can see what I'm up to. I'm going to plug this in with the internet. Huh? Oh, did it go down? Okay, never mind. We lost our product cam. Just a moment, get that fixed. I guess it timed out. Wouldn't you know it? They want me to do a... That was all right, cool. There we go. Right. This is live, folks. So all right. So I'm going to plug this in, power it up, so you guys can see this. Okay, starting up. All right, this is our sky bridge. Goes through an initialization sequence. Takes about a minute or so. But what we're interested in, and again, going back to our slide deck, we're interested in finding the IP address that my router, my Wi-Fi router, not my Wi-Fi, my home router here, actually in the office, is what it assigns it to. So let me get that. It takes about a minute. I want you guys to see this. So we'll get that. And I'll go ahead in the meantime, I'll put the antenna on it because you will need to put an antenna on it. And the range on one of these devices, depending on how high it gets in the air, is probably, we've estimated around 1/4 mile. It's not very, it's about 10 milliwatts or so is what it transmits. Okay, so there it's powered up. And as you can see, a little bit of glare on that, but what we're looking for is this address that's right here, okay? And as you can see here, it's 192.168.1.115. So I'm going to open up another, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to open up a window. 192.168.1.115. And that should pull up this hotspot's dashboard, which it does, okay? So I am, my computer here on the desk as well as the hotspot are on the same local area network, okay? So we did find our IP address and we logged in. Okay, so we, just a real quick snapshot about the application that's running on the SkyBridge. It's called PiStar, or a derivative thereof. And it is the most popular application that allows you to configure a hotspot. So we just, again, we have a computer connected to the same local area network as our hotspot, and we use that internet browser to type in the IP address, and that'll load the PiStar page, which of course, that's the startup page that we're seeing, okay? So the next thing we want to do is we want to press the admin setup button because we're going to set this up. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click admin. Okay, this is where it wants you to ask for your username and your password. Okay, the username out of the box is pi-star and raspberry is the password. So I'm going to step over here and I'm going to type in pi-star and raspberry. And I'm going to hit sign in. And I'm not going to save that. Okay, so now that we're in the dashboard, we can begin to take care of some things, okay? So what we want to do next is we want to press the configuration button because we want to set this up. Okay, now this is where you start the general configuration. This is where you start adding your particular credentials to the hotspot so that you can make it your own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do that and how quickly and easy it can be. So I'm going to step over here to our page, and I'm going to go back and forth between that sheet and this page where I set it up so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Okay. So first you want to do is you want to set the node call sign. Okay. And what's cool about this, and that's right here. What's cool about that is this thing will actually go out and find your DMR ID it'll actually start searching it. And clearly you can see there it is, 3129172. You can, I don't know how it's doing that, but that's what it's doing. It's finding our DMR ID and it knows where I'm at. So all I did was type in my call sign and there it was. Okay, so the next thing to set up is my time zone, which I'm in the Chicago Central Time Zone. Okay, all this stuff here, the radio frequency, that is the transmit and receive frequency of the SkyBridge. Okay, it's 446.550 is the frequency, and it's going to receive and transmit on that frequency. And then, of course, all this other stuff, not to be worried about it. And then here's, of course, is the information about your location, because what happens is once this hotspot is on the air, folks can look you up on the Brandmeister network and say, well, hey, where's KCØQVT's hotspot located? And so I can type in the Smithville, Missouri longitude and latitude, and I can quickly put that in, and that will help identify. I mean, I'll show you that here in a minute. Whoops, let's put this in right here. let's see, a lot of windows open. And put this right here. And that's my longitude and latitude of where I'm located. And I've already put this in before, and we are in the United States. I'll type in USA. Okay, perfect. Okay, so got the time zone, the longitude, the latitude, the town and country, and now the next step is the Brandmeister Master for USA-based hams, okay? I'm in the central zone, which is, you want to scroll down here. This is further down the sheet here, but one thing, this SkyBridge defaults to DMR out of the box. Now, this hotspot has a lot of versatility. It can do D-Star, YSF, M17, all kinds of different digital modes. We're focusing on DMR, okay? But this just goes to show you how advanced and how much stuff you could do with this thing. Okay, so the next step is, let's see, go down here. The Brandmeister Master, you want to tie that to a server that is in your proximity, and 3102 is for the Midwest, and I believe 3104 is the East Coast, and 3103 is the West Coast, okay? And then, of course, I'm on 3102. The next point is your Brandmeister hotspot security. This is the password that you set up when you set up your account. So I'm putting mine in. And then the next step is to locate and make sure you're using time slot 2. Remember back when I started is that the DMR is 2 time slots, okay? We're going to be on time slot 2, okay? And then the color code is 1. Now, color code is akin to like a PL tone in the analog world, okay? Most folks use color code 1. I'm going to use color code 1 here, but think of it like a digital version of a PL tone. So I'm just going to verify that how this is set up, and it is set up on time slot 2 here. And then looking down, it's DMR color code. But that's really all you need to do. And then the next step is apply the changes to restart the device. So I'm going to do that, click that real quick, and then we could probably go over here and peek at the product cam and watch it reset. Okay, it stopped. And it should restart, and it should populate with my DMR ID and my call sign. All right, there, it's coming back to life. Yes, look at that. We got it in there. KCØQVT, and there's my DMR ID. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to check and see if the hotspot is actually on the network, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to click dashboard now that we're back and populated. And the things that you want to do, and you might, if you can, move my, there you go, so that they can see that. Okay, so what you're wanting to look at over here is you're wanting to see if the DMR node is green, the network status is green, and then down here you want to see this master. You don't want that to be discolored. You want that to be clear. And as you can see, I am on the network. Okay, I've made the connection to the server. And one way to do that is we can actually open up a window, and we could go over here to hotspots, and I will type in my call sign in this search bar, and you can see all the, and there, look at that. I'm already connected, okay, which is really cool. So that's a good sign. That's one of the things you want to check. Are you connected to the network? Okay. So now that we know we're connected to the network, I can say, yes, we've got success. I'm confident that hotspot is connected to Brandmeister, and we verified that and we set it up. So yeah, you've got all that information in these show notes that you can walk back and do this. Okay, so now the next step is to get our radio out of the box. Let me move this out of the way here. We're going to take a new AnyTone AT-D878UVII Plus out of the box. By the way, when you get a radio from us, you get Bridgecom University, a free subscription. And I'm going to get into that later, but it is a really cool platform that has more stuff in it than what I'm talking about with you guys today. I am giving you a 36,000 view overview of everything, and I want to show you how quickly it is we can get on the air. But if you want to delve deeper into this and learn this skill and learn more about radio and DMR and how all this stuff works together, we've got some awesome training available when you get a radio. By the way, nobody else is doing that. We want you successful. That is one thing that Bridgecom Systems does do. We try to help you guys get on the air quickly. We don't want you struggling. We want you to learn the product. We want you to just have fun. And one of the things that makes it more fun is when you have success. And having success is probably one of the neatest things that you can experience. Okay, so the first, I'm just going to get into this here. We've got our radio. Okay, just got it out of the box. I got an extra battery on the side. I didn't want to get into that box just in the interest of time, but I've got a battery here. And what we need to do, first of all, is we need to find out what version of firmware is on this radio, okay? And so to do that, you unbox the radio, of course, attach the battery, turn it on. I'm going to turn it on and get over here to the product cam, and I'm going to move the hotspot out of the way, and we're going to turn this thing on. And you can see that it's booting, okay? And as it shows there, the calibrate is, and we're going to confirm that, okay? And then you're going to see your welcome screen. And then you're going to see... after the startup screen has disappeared, we're going to show you, okay, so hop over here to the product. Okay, so we're going to press menu, and we're going to scroll down to where we hit settings. We're going to go down to device info, and we're going to just scroll down here, and we see that we're on version 3.03E as our firmware, okay? Now, this is key because this governs what CPS we pull off the website. Okay, so now we know our version of firmware. So now we want to download and install the CPS. Okay, so the CPS stands for Computer Programming Software. Go figure. So the firmware and the CPS version should match. Okay, so I'm going to click on this link, and this is in the slide deck here, and I'm going to open up a new window, and this is going to go to our support page where we have cataloged all the versions of firmware that are available for this radio. And again, the CPS only works on a Windows-based system. Okay, so again, we saw here, and I'll fix this here, but we saw here that our version of firmware was 3.03. I won't go back into that, but we know that. So we want to download this version of firmware and CPS. So I'm going to click that button, and that should download this software, which it's doing right now. It's in pro. Okay, it's great. So I'm going to open this, and I'm going to install this. Okay, so let's go through this. Let's go through the installation process. Okay, so this is a zip file, and I'm going to click this one, 3.03 CPS. Now it's going to tell me that it depends on compressed files. For the application to run properly, it's recommended that you first extract all the files, which I'll do, and we'll go ahead and extract those there. And it's going to start extracting those files and put the CPS on your computer, and now it's opened that in a new directory. And so we're going to execute 3.03 CPS, and we're going to set it up. And we want to go more info, and we're going to run it anyway. Okay. And I have not installed 303 on this computer before, so this is new. So yes, we want to go ahead and make the changes. English, set it up on that directory. Go ahead and create a desktop. On the start menu, desktop shortcut, install. So now it's installing. Goes pretty quick. Registering. And let's go ahead and launch it. All right. So going back over to our workshop. Okay, so with the radio turned on, using an included programming cable, securely connect the cable to the radio. Now, in the interest of time, I went and got a cable, and I've got it connected over here to my a USB port. Okay, we've already run the CPS. We're already turned on, and so we're going to set the COM. Okay, so let's go over here and set the COM. Okay, so we got 4 and 6. Now watch this. I'm going to plug this in, securely plug it in, and our COM port should appear. Okay, so COM 3 is what we want. This is a neat little trick. If you ever want to know what COM it is, you can see COM 3 disappeared, plug it back in, COM 3 reappeared. So we know that we're on COM 3. So I'm going to click COM 3 plus OK. And now I'm going to read the radio. Okay, so select read from radio from the program drop-down menu, click OK, and click OK on the read or write objects. Okay, so we'll go over here to program, read from radio, OK, and OK. So it's reading from the radio straight out of the box. Great. Okay, so it's completed the data. Now what you're seeing here is a default profile that comes from the factory. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to clean the slate and delete all those default channels, okay? And what you do by doing that is you right click over here and you just go delete. Delete. Let's see, I think you can delete. Delete, delete, delete. We're getting a clean slate here. Okay. And now we're going to start building what is called a simple code plug. Okay, now code plug has I don't want to get too deep into it because it seems like, what's a code plug? Well, it's really just a profile, a software file that tells the radio how to do what you want it to do. It's got all the frequencies for receive and transmit, all of your anything you want that radio to do. I from my commercial background in professional radio, we often call that a personality profile, but the hams, we call it a code plug. Okay, so the first step we want to do is we want to add our DMR ID to the radio list. And that's done by going over here, and you can see this radio ID list, okay? And going back here, you can see that's the digital section in the tree view, and then that node radio ID. And so you've got the radio ID right here, okay? And this is where you want to add your telephone number to the radio so that you can make it your own. So you left double click on that, and in this case, I'm 312-719-9172. 312-9172, and then of course my radio ID name is going to be my call sign. So I'm going to put KC0, and you can actually do the /0 here too, which is the Alt 0216 to make that slash appear. Little pro tip for you. Okay, now that's done. Now I've done that. I've made the radio my own by putting that in there. Okay, now we want to add talk groups to the radio. Now, what are talk groups? Well, talk groups are akin to interest groups, okay? I'll just quickly show you a list of groups here. Whoops, I don't want to do that. I want to open a new window. Okay, talk groups are like rooms, if you will, from the, you call them rooms, but anything about interest. You can see looking down this list, you've got all the various countries have a talk group. People have talk group interests for all kinds of things, but you can see, you can talk to people all over the world by entering a talk group. And I'm going to show you how a talk group is used, because we're going to use specific talk groups, but I just want you to know this link shows you where those talk groups are. Okay. So, and I've included that link here in the show, the slide deck. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add the following talk groups. We're going to add a disconnect talk group, which is very important, because when you're in the midst of talking to somebody, and let's say you've got yourself connected to a talk group and you want to leave and then you want to go to another one, the best way to do that is to disconnect. And that's done by simply making a call to the 4000 talk group. So we're going to set that one up. The next one is a must, especially for testing purposes, that we're going to add a parrot. Okay, the parrot is nothing more than just a way for you to test your connection. And we're going to test our connection once we get this going, but you need a parrot. And then I'm going to add Ohio. I'm going to add Papa Chat, want to talk to our friends in California. And then I'm going to, for fun, as a kind of a bonus, I'm going to put you all on worldwide so you can see how busy this thing is, because worldwide never quiets. Okay, so let's start adding talk groups. And that is done by clicking this left button here and opening up this sheet. And we're going to left double click on that. And our first talk group is going to be let's go ahead and get back here so I can get these done. Okay, it's going to be the disconnect. So we're going to call this disconnect. And I'm going to make it all caps. And I'm building this all on the fly for you guys so you can see what you guys need to do. And again, it's a call type. It's a group call. And its number is 4000. Okay. And then the call alert, I'm just going to leave that to none. Okay. And then I'm going to add another one, which is going to be the parrot. So I'm going to call it parrot. And this is going to be a private call. There's two types of calls. Private, well, actually looks like there's three. All call, private call, and group call. Well, this will be a private call, and its number is 9990. And the origin of these numbers, I have no idea. They just somebody somewhere said, hey, let's make that number that number. Okay, so the Ohio statewide talk group is 3139. So I'm going to call this Ohio. And that's going to be a group call, and its number is 3139. No call alert. Let's add our California friends on the Papa chat. And that is a group call, and that is 31. Whoops, we went too far. 31077. And finally, let's add worldwide. And that one is talk group 91. All right. Okay, so that is what you should see there, knowing your talk groups are all set up. And again, these talk groups, you could add a bunch of them. And in more advanced things, you can actually get a list and import it to your radio so you don't have to hand crank this like I did. But in the interest of showing you how things are done, I wanted to give you that show or that demonstration. Okay, so we've got that equal. It looks just like this. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to create channels. We need to create a channel for each talk group. Okay, so we're going to have to create 5 channels on this 446.550 and one for each talk group. And the parameters that we want to be concerned with are the DMR mode, the channel type, color code, and time slot. We want the color code to be 1, which corresponds to the hotspot. And I'm going to go ahead and put this back over here so you can see that again. We'll get this set up because we're going to watch this in real time. Color code 1, time slot 2, which we put out. And I'm going to set the power to low because I'm right in proximity to the hotspot. Now you could put it up to turbo power, but low is perfectly fine. And then the TX permit is always. So I'm going to jump back over to the CPS. And we're going to create 5 channels. And that's done by clicking the channel node. And we're going to create, I'm going to quickly show you how to cut and paste these, or copy and paste rather. So we want a disconnect channel. Okay. And that's going to be on 446.55 megahertz and on receive, and 446.550 on transmit. The channel type, as we've talked about, is digital. Transmit power, I'm going to bring that down to low. Bandwidth is always 12.5 kilohertz for digital. TX permit tone is always, okay, scan list. Okay, now here's the contact information, and this is where we want to actually assign that group to this channel. So I'm going to left click on that. There's my radio ID for how I have this channel, and I've only got just me in here. It's color code 1, time slot 2. Okay. And then the DMR mode down here is DMO simplex, which is what we want. Okay. So now I'm going to go down here and click OK. So I've created that channel. Now I want to create 5 channels with the same frequency. So what I'm going to do, and I just want to change the name of the channel. Okay. So I'm going to quickly just copy, and I'm going to paste. I'm going to paste. I'm going to paste. And I'm going to paste. Okay. And then all I need to do is change the name. So this is going to be parrot. And then I want to go over here and change the group. And then I'm done. Now let's fix Ohio. So let's talk to Ohio and change the contact. Okay. Just rinse and repeat. Makes it easy. And then, of course, Papa Chat. I'm changing the alpha tag too, and I'll show you how to make sure you see that when the display comes up, because these radios are cool. They've got a really nice display, and you can see a lot of what's going on by looking at your radio. And then, of course, worldwide. All right, change that. Okay. So now I've got all my channels in the radio, and I believe they're all on 446.55. They're digital channels. They're all on low power, and they are digital. And I believe there's not much else going on that page. Okay. So there, your channel list is complete. Okay, now what we want to do is create a zone and put the channels in a zone, and you must create a zone. This is oftentimes where folks get stuck. They forget to create a zone, but you have to create a zone. And what a zone is, it's a collection of channels. Okay, so stepping over here, we want to go to the zone page, and we're going to left click on this, and we're just going to call this the workshop zone because we are having a workshop. I think we can put that. And then we put all the channels in the zone. Okay, all of them are there for the workshop zone for this demonstration. So now we have that. We have a workshop zone, and that completes that task. Now, I want to do a little bit of customization of this radio, which makes it operate, in my opinion, a lot better. And I'll show you here real quick. But what we want to do is we want to click this option setting node in the tree view to bring up the following tab sheet. Okay, there's an optional setting here, and this brings up a bunch of configurations for how your radio is to operate, like to make it your own. Okay, and I'm going to go through a few of these and show you some stuff that I like to set it up for, just for the, and also it helps to demonstrate the radio quite well for this presentation. Okay, so in the display tab, I want to set the auto backlight duration to always. And what this does is this keeps the display on all the time. There's nothing more, when you're trying to talk to people and the display goes off and you got to turn the knob again to reawaken it. So we're going to fix that to where that's on all the time. And that's done by clicking this display tab and then setting this auto backlight duration to always, so that it's always on. Okay, and then we want to go to the work mode tab, which is, I was just there, and we want to set the display mode to channel. And what that does is that allows for the alpha tag of the channel. When you're changing the channels, you're not looking at actual frequency. You're actually looking at what you assigned it. So we'll be able to see Ohio. We'll be able to see worldwide, parrot, disconnect, and Papa Chat. And then the next one, we want to make sure it's in working mode. This is a professional radio and a amateur radio, but we want it in amateur mode. And then, of course, we want to set this, change the sub-channel mode to off. This allows only one channel to be displayed at a time. So I'm going to set this to off. Okay. And then on the alert tone tab, I want to change the talk permit tone to digital and analog. Okay. And that is done by here. Okay. Now what that does is that will allow you to hear a beep letting you know you've accessed the hotspot, because sometimes when you press the PTT button and start talking, you might not connect to the hotspot just yet. But if you hear that beep, you know you've got access. So it's like a talk permit tone is really what it is. Okay. And I believe the next step is to make the radio yours. And this is what's really cool about this radio. You can customize it to where it powers up and it says your name, or a splash screen that has something that makes it yours, like an image. This radio does have a small, I don't know what you call it, but a TFT display, but it's got a lot of graphic capability. So what we're going to do is on the power on tab, we're going to change this to where we have custom characters, and we're going to say Ron. Whoops. We're going to put Ron in here. This is for me because I want to make this radio my own. And I'm going to put my call sign here, which is K. Whoops. Get this in here. KCØQVT. Whoops. Got to clean out the other stuff. Okay. Now that's going to make this radio mine. Okay. All right. So I think we've built a code plug, And now let's write to the radio and test it out. Okay. Let's just see what's going on. So I'm going to show you how to write to the radio. Okay. You go back up here to your program and we're going to write to the radio. Yes. I just want to connect. So now we're going to write it to the radio, and then I'll go over here to the product cam and I will show you what's going on. So let me quickly come over here, move this out of the way. Okay. It's copying the data to the radio. Booting, please wait. And you should see my call sign and my name. There it is. Cool. All right. And it should power up. Okay, yeah, the workshop zone that we created, we have a disconnect channel. There's the parrot channel. There's the Ohio channel. There's the Papa Chat channel. And there's worldwide. And then it just cycles through it. Okay. Now, what I need to do is I need to get an antenna on this thing. And let's do some tests. And as I promised, the goals of this show is to make a contact. All right. So I'm going to put an antenna on this thing. And I'm going to find out if I know what I'm talking about, because I am going to try to hit the parrot. And I want you guys to see that. I'm going to put the camera. So I'm going to see about engaging this thing. And KCØQVT, listening.
KCØQVT, listening.
All right. Well, that is a big sign. Okay. When you can hit the parrot, you pretty much are good. You can talk to all the talk groups out there. Okay. So you did see the hotspot put up my name and call sign. And just so you can notice that again, I will do that one more time. KCØQVT, monitoring the parrot. And you can see that it knows I'm licensed in the United States. That's my call sign.
KCØQVT, monitoring the parrot.
Okay, great. All right, now let's find out if we can make some friends. So I'm going to try Ohio. Okay, I'm going to say KCØQVT, monitoring Ohio statewide talk group. Anybody copy? Looks like Larry came in. Larry came back, but I don't hear.
Kilo Bravo 8, Echo Mike Delta.
There's Ron, K7. Kilo up. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your call sign, my friend. This is Ron, KCØQVT. Who might I be speaking with? Is this Larry? Here we go. Yeah, KB8EMD.
QSL, this is Larry, KB8EMD.
KB8EMD. This is KCØQVT, Ron in Kansas City, Missouri. How you doing? How's everything going in Ohio? I assume you're in Ohio. And then you can see on the, I don't know. I know you're watching the hotspot and the.
Yes, sir, I am in Ohio. I'm in southwest Ohio. I'm approximately 10 miles from the little town of Xenia, Ohio, where they have a little ham fest every so often. And the weather today is 51 degrees with clouds. Back to you, Ron. Nice talking to you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much, Larry. Yes, we know Xenia well. We've been there a few times. Yeah, you do have a little bitty ham fest there, man. I tell you, it's awesome. Well, listen, just wanted to make your acquaintance and just see if anybody's monitoring. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you in Xenia here in a few months in May. But yeah, and one request, don't make it rain. Keep the rain out of there. I think everybody would love it.
It never rains in Xenia, except in May. KB8EMD, 7-3, everybody.
All right, Larry. Thank you. 73 KC0QVT. Okay, well, there you go. I got to meet Larry. As you can see out of the box, everything on the air, Ohio. So now what I want to do is I want to go to the disconnect because I want to end that. So I'm going to hit the disconnect. See talk group 4000 on your, then it's going to tell me. Okay, it's going to disconnect on 4000. Normally it says talk group disconnect. Let's see if we can hear that. It'll say not linked. For some reason it's not. Okay. Did I put that in right? I wonder if I did. Let me check my talk group list. Yeah, it's 4000. Okay. Well, here, let's try another channel. Let's go to, let's talk to our friends in California. I'm sure there's some, Kansas City calling California today will be really interesting. KC0QVT monitoring Papa Chat. Anybody copy? Somebody's on there. Sometimes folks chime in and that's akin to kerchunking the repeater. They make their connection known. So let me try that one more time. KC0QVT monitoring Papa Chat. Anybody copy? This is Ron KC0QVT. And I know that guy, KN6QVG, QGV. I don't know.
KC0QVT, this is KN6QG.
Oh. Well, okay, this is oftentimes what happens. Sometimes you've got some okay, well, that I did make 2 calls. That it looks like Adam got back to me, and so did Larry, which, you know, let's see.
Okay. Hey, Ron, how's it going?
That is, yeah, there's Adam. Hey, Adam, this is Ron, KC0QVT. Good to hear from you. So you're on Papa Chat today. All right. Okay. I hope he heard me. He might be on a hotspot as well. Here he comes. Oh, it can get congested. I will say that, but you can get into talk groups. So anyway, in the interest of keeping the ball rolling, I am going to go ahead and disconnect, and I'll go out. Whoops, I don't want to do that. Just a moment. Let me see about disconnect.
Controller group. The email address is info@.
Okay, I've connected to the worldwide talk group. Now this thing is probably going to be lit up all day, and you can see here we got a guy from Turkey, and I'm going to just let this play in the background and talk to you about what's going on. But my intention here was make the QSOs, which I did. And so one would ask, well, where do you go from here? Looks like Windows wants me to get all that stuff in. Okay, so where do we go from here? Well, we have an offer that we put together for you guys, and I've got a link here for a workshop. So, and we also have we're running a giveaway that's going to end on Tuesday evening. So I invite you to check that out. But I'll check. We've got a limited time offer where you guys can get a radio from us, get a hotspot from us. If you've already got an AnyTone radio and you need some help getting that set up, we can do that. But we have 3 offers, and I invite you to check this out on this page. We've got a radio you can get from us, and what you're going to get with that is not only the radio, but you're going to get Bridgecom University with that, which I would like to show you guys what this is all about. If you go to Bridgecom University, you can see this training course that we put together for you guys. Now, let's see. And you can see this course here, which is really cool. We just revisited, we relaunched it, but it's basically consists of 194 lessons and 30 hours of video content. And that's what you get when you just buy a radio from us. Okay. And some of this, and this is how, like, I just scratched the surface. What you guys can do is go into DMR basics. You can revisit all this, how to get into DMR, code plugs, all about code plugs, a ton of videos, talk groups and contact lists, how to just work your radio, VFO and channel modes, getting on the air, just a ton of video content that you get when you get a radio. And then we top it all off, and you get 12 weeks of coaching with us. And that's with our BC Plus program. So we invite you to take advantage of that. And if you want to go all the way and get a plug and play package, we've got that offer as well, which includes not only the radio, but a hotspot, totally pre-programmed for you. It takes all the heavy lifting out. You get the Bridgecom University training, and you get the 12 weeks of coaching that we will work with you to just make sure you're enjoying your hotspot and you're on the air. And you can see these offers on the page right there. And I invite you to take a look at that and dig deeper on it. And then, of course, if you've already got an AnyTone radio, and let's say you're struggling with it and you want to get a hotspot, you can actually return that 878 radio to us, and we will set that up for you. And you will also get the 12 free weeks of coaching, as well as the Bridgecom University. And also, to top it all off, we add an ultra code plug, which is a pre-done code plug, all set up for you, all the countries, all the NOAA frequencies, templates on how to build analog channels to talk to your repeater. I mean, we've done a lot of heavy lifting for you to make your journey successful, which is, of course, what we all want. We all want success. So I invite you guys to take a look at that. You can reach out and look at that on our website. And then, of course, just continue to learn this stuff. It's really cool. The rabbit hole is deep. If you want to click back over to the CPS channel, you want to take a look at where do we go from here. Continue to learn. We do have a YouTube channel full of valuable content. We invite you to subscribe. We have a live stream series called Bridgecom University Live. From radioid.net, you can download the entire contact list of all the 250,000 plus hams. They're all in that list. You can, that way when you, your hotspot populates or your radio populates, instead of showing you a number on the screen, it'll actually show you who that person is, their call sign, so that you don't have to try to remember, like I was doing, what Larry's call sign was. So also we have an official Facebook group page that I'd like to invite you guys to check out. There's over 16,000 people a member of that group. All we ask is that you just give us your, your name and your call sign if you're a ham. You don't have to have a call sign, but also just enjoy come in and enjoy the team. And we invite you to go to that. Okay, and there's a lot of people on there that would help you as well. It's a nice community. And then, of course, this exclusive membership program called BC Plus. It's pretty cool. And we invite you to attend that too, if you'd like. And that's where the coaching calls are held. But again, if you buy a radio from us, you get 12 weeks of coaching calls through BC Plus. You get the Ultra Code plug if you get the plug and play package or the plug and play upgrade. You also get you get the Bridgecom University training course when you get a radio from us. So with that said, I think I want to thank you so much for watching this stream. Thank you for spending an hour of your time with me. I hope it was massively valuable to it. This recording will be put up so you guys can watch it again. You're welcome to download the slide deck presentation so that you can quickly build your code plug. And my hope for you is that you have success. We're here for you if you need us. I mean, we do have limited resources, but we do respond to our tickets. We have a ticketing system. We have our we have a phone you can call. We've got a tech team that's available for help, and we're doing our best to serve the amateur radio community. I know in my own life, so many people in my journey have helped me become successful, and this is just a way for us to give back. And we're trying to do, we're trying to change the landscape, how businesses work with ham radio. We don't want you to just have the radio and say, hope and pray you figure it out. No, we want to be your partner, and we invite you to do that. So have a great weekend, everyone, and just look forward to hearing you and seeing you on the air. My name's Ron. I'm KCØQVT, and I wish you all the best. 7-3.